As a registered dietitian, I have an obvious interest in the foods I eat. I tend to geek out on the nutrients they contain, and I love to put together meals that look as delicious as they taste. But as a busy mama, I try to limit the time that I spend in the kitchen whenever possible. And one thing that's helped me do this is to cook only one meal for the whole family, baby included, and ideally in 20 minutes or less. So in this video, I thought I'd share with you 3 of my favorite vegan meals. They're ultra quick to make, easy to prepare, require only 5 ingredients, and best of all, they're both adult and baby approved. So if you, like me, are short on time, or perhaps are short on inspiration when it comes to vegan meals, this video should help you out. And if you're looking for vegan baby food ideas or vegan weaning recipes, this video should help you with that too. Now, before we dive into the recipes, I feel like I need to preface this video by saying that I'm a bit of a rebel when it comes to following recipes. Or in fact, I don't really like following recipes at all, and especially not since having a baby. And that's because between choosing a recipe and then making a list of the ingredients you need for that recipe, going to the store, getting them, coming back, following the recipe step by step, I always find that I end up spending way more time in the kitchen than I really want to. So I'm a bigger fan of improv cooking. The key to improv cooking is keeping your kitchen and pantry stocked with the right ingredients, and then it's simply a matter of making the right combinations to offer your body all the nutrients it needs. In case you want to give improv cooking a try too, I can share a link to the vegan grocery list that I personally rely on week to week, so you can get a good idea of the best ingredients to keep on hand. As for the 3 recipes that I'm about to share, just know that they don't require you to be 100% precise, and that they lend themselves very well to ingredient substitutions, which I'll outline throughout the video. So feel free to get creative if you don't have one specific ingredient on hand. And with that said, let's get into it. First, we have these very berry oats. Oatmeal is my go-to breakfast in the colder months, and I don't seem to ever get tired of it because I vary the toppings on a day-to-day basis. In this particular recipe, I combine 1 handful, or about 1/4 cup of oats, with 3/4 cups plant milk. I top this with 1 tablespoon of ground flax seeds, which you can also substitute for ground almonds, chia or hemp seeds, and another of unsweetened shredded coconut. I then mix in about 1/2 cup of frozen berries and microwave for 60 to 90 seconds, but I sometimes also add the frozen berries into the warm oatmeal as a way to cool it down a bit more quickly. Berries are ultra rich in vitamins and minerals, and their vitamin C content helps the body absorb the iron this meal offers, which breastfed babies over 6 months old really need to get sufficient amounts of from their diet. Now let's move on to these Let's Go Bananas pancakes. Pancakes are a family favorite in our house. We make them both sweet or savory, and we're known to eat them for all 3 meals. In this recipe, I combine about 1 cup of whole wheat flour with a tablespoon of chia seeds and 1/2 tablespoon of baking powder. I then give it a good mix and add about 1 cup of plant milk before stirring again. You can play around with the type of flour you use, for instance by choosing oat or buckwheat flour instead of whole wheat, but I do encourage you to stick to whole grains since they offer more nutrition than processed ones. I then slice up 2 bananas and mix them into the batter, but again, feel free to substitute for your fruit of choice. And if you prefer savory pancakes, you can also replace the fruit altogether for savory ingredients such as corn or black beans. I then add a little bit of oil to a warm pan, ideally a cast iron pan, which can help boost the iron content of your meal. And then I place the batter into the pan, making sure that I have approximately the same amount of bananas on each pancake. I then bake them for a couple of minutes on each side, basically until they're brown and easy to flip. You can eat them as is, or you can top them with your favorite toppings. On this particular day, I topped mine with peanut butter, pear butter, and some extra bananas, and served them with a side of berries and coconut yogurt for our little one. Hummus and cherry tomatoes also make great toppings for savory pancakes. And finally, we have this jacket of all trades baked potato recipe. I consider jacket potatoes a jack of all trades and eat them several times a month. I start by giving both the potatoes and whichever vegetable topping I choose a good wash. In this recipe, I use English potatoes and beet greens, but feel free to substitute for sweet potatoes or whichever nutrient-dense toppings you prefer. The trick to making potatoes quickly is to use the microwave rather than the oven. The skin will be a little bit less crispy, but the potato will be done in about 1/4 of the time. You need to prick the potatoes before microwaving them to prevent them from exploding while they cook, and I usually cook the potatoes for give or take 7 minutes, or until I can easily stick a fork into their flesh. While the potatoes cook, I dice 1/2 of an avocado, which I'm going to use as my source of plant fats in this meal. Plant fats are an important source of nutrients for adults, but they're especially important to incorporate enough of in the meals you serve your little ones, since babies have higher fat requirements than adults do. I then destem the beet greens and will dice both the stems and the leaves. Dark leafy greens like beet greens are super rich in nutrients, and the earlier you introduce them to your little one, the likelier they are to actually enjoy eating them as they grow up. The stems tend to take a little bit longer to cook than the leaves, so I like to give them a head start. I first place the stems in a saucepan over medium heat and top them with half of a vegetable bouillon cube and a bit of water. I then give them a good stir and cook them covered for about 5 minutes. I then add the leaves and cook for another 3 minutes. You can choose to eat your beet greens as is, or if you prefer, use some additional seasonings, for instance, dried chili peppers, tamari sauce, or a dash of lemon. I just make sure to reserve a small portion of the greens for the baby before I add any salt. While these cook, I warm up the canned white beans and tomato sauce in another saucepan, and when they're ready, I'll slice the baked potato in two, mash the flesh a little bit using the fork, and then top it all with the baked beans, the beet greens, and the diced avocado. Now when prepping this meal for my little one, I make sure to remove the skin from the potato and cut everything in smaller pieces to make it easier for her to eat. I may also sprinkle a little bit of flax or chia seeds on top to help her get even more iron and fat out of this meal. This recipe is super versatile, and I often use it with a combination of toppings depending on what I have on hand. For instance, I might replace the beet greens with spinach or corn, use black beans or lentils instead of the white beans, hummus or pesto instead of the tomato sauce, or replace the avocado with salsa or cashew sour cream. So there you have it, 3 of my favorite go-to vegan meals that are perfect both for adults and to use as weaning recipes for your baby. Now, if you're interested in getting the exact measurements, I'll put a link to the recipes in the description box below. And I'm really curious to hear about your favorite go-to vegan meals that are quick and easy to make. So let's get chatting about them in the comments section. And with that said, that's it for today. Until next time, ciao ciao!